Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I am located in Oregon in the United States, and I am so happy that you are here tonight. Let's go ahead and see who we have on. Oh, let me turn the double sound off. We don't need an echo. All right. Go ahead and say hello when you jump on in so I'll know you're here. If you're new to my channel, please let me know so I can give you a special shout out hello for my first time watcher. And then we will get started here. See how this goes. Just want to remind everybody about the joining special that Stampin' Up! Has going on right now. You can get 35% off of the normal $99 starter price, and you get $125 worth of product in your kit, or you can choose to pay $99 and get 35% more in product in your kit. And of course, those are products of your own choosing. And that comes out to like $168 when you do it that way. All right. Hello, Laura. So happy you can join me. All right. Look what came today. This arrived about 4 o'clock, and I decided that I would not open the box until tonight so you all could see what was in it. Okay, so we are going to be doing, after we get this opened, we're going to be doing 2 projects tonight. One of those with Warmest Heart and one of those with Pick of the Patch. Both of these are inspired for breast cancer awareness. Let's go ahead and open the box and see what we have in here for new products. Sorry, I'm looking for a large pair of scissors, which I'm not finding. They apparently are not where they belong in my bag. So let's crack this open. And voila, here we go. All right. Pulling out. Yay. So some of this stuff is not new product, but let's see. We've got these and these and these. New product, new product, new product, new product, new, and new. Oh, and this. Okay, there we go. I'm going to move the box out of the way now so we can take a look at the new goodies. Okay, so let's start with the online exclusives that will be coming out in November to customers. Of course, if you join Stampin' Up, you can get those now on an add to your starter kit. So let's take a look at this ribbon. This is some pecan, what do they call it? Center stripe ribbon. It has pecan pie. And let's pop that open. Ooh, that's so soft. Okay, this is always the test for me. Can you tie a nice bow? Yes, you can. A very nice bow. It is just a tiny bit thick in the center, but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ribbon. Okay. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, Mary. I don't think you'll be disappointed, Mary, with that garden. Oh, and don't forget, you guys, that through tomorrow is free shipping day. If they all order $75 and above, many of you have taken advantage of that, but still going on. All right, so part of that, sweet, let's get all these pieces together. So we've got the Garden Meadow suite. This goes with the ribbon. And it comes with this stamp set. And then these dies. Hang on to your ears for just a second. And we'll take a look at these dies. Okay, so the Garden Meadow dies are 15 dies. And they cut out every image in the stamp set. Plus you get these 3, 4, 5 extra pieces. This one is like the radiating stitches rectangles that we have right now, but it cuts both the inside and the outside of this window shape or archway shape. And then these are like edgets. They're going to give you some, oh, look, this has texture. So like grassy hill, shorter grassy hill, then larger grass. And then here you can cut a hill with a little bit of grass on each end. And then you have a gate. So those are going to be very fun, and you'll be seeing projects made with those. And of course, here's the stamp set. This is a photopolymer stamp set. Okay. 16 dies in that stamp set. And then here is, I think, the star of the show. Right here. Let's look at the paper. Get 4 sheets each of 12 double-sided designs for a total of 48. And those are stunning. Let me see. Do I need to move it back a bit? There we go. Good job there. All right. And then the back side. There's the front. Wow. How pretty is that? And the back. And then we've got this gorgeous piece. At the World Card Making Day event on Saturday, someone who introduced this said it was like selling little pieces of artwork in this paper, and it truly is art. Beautiful. Wow, those are stunning. I don't think you get to see just how beautiful they are until you see them in person. Wow. Okay. And that is the stack. Okay. Let's set those aside so they don't get all messed up somewhere. And then finally in that suite is the adhesive backed dragonflies and birds. And let's go ahead and should have been a little bit more careful getting those out. They're kind of stuck. Okay. I don't want to lose those. Let's put them back. They're very, very thin. Definitely we're not adding any extra bulk to cards with those. right. Sorry, guys, but I don't want to lose my dragonflies. And, oh, look, looks like it. Oh, turn it over, put it there. Okay, those are gorgeous. And these are even thinner than the brushed brass butterflies that we currently have in the catalog. Way thin. Okay. So then the other bundle that's currently on the pre-order for demonstrators for the online exclusives is Fluffiest Friends. And this too comes with dies. And Fluffiest Friends has 21 dies. So you get all the cute, cute little animals. I'm not sure which one's my favorite. They're also stinking cute. Okay, one card. So you're going to have one for every animal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, you got all the animals. And then you've got a honeybee hive, a tree. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sets of leaves to put on your branch. And then you've got a balloon, some grass, 2 grass die cuts. Oh, and actually 2 different size balloons here. Plus you have, this could be some sort of archway or honey hive. Those are going to be fun. And of course we will be using those. Okay, move on to that. And then because I'm attending the On Stage at Home event, I was able to pre-order a selection of products that will be available in the January to April 2024 mini. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I forgot to punch in the box. This is called the Bee Builder Punch. And do you see a bee when you look at it? Because what I see is a conversation bubble and a couple of hearts. Let's see if we can get that out of the plastic. I don't want to take it completely out because I want to mark it with my numbers and things. All right, so that's going to be useful. And then the stamp set that coordinates is called Be My Valentine. This is a photopolymer stamp set. 24 stamps in the set. You've got some flowers. You can build a bee, or this could be used as any shape, any conversation sentiment shape. You've got a heart, 2 hearts here, well, partial to make the wings. You've got some extra hearts here, a honeycomb, multiple faces. Oh, you got 4 faces. Sentiments, that is going to be fun. And let's take a quick look at the DSP. Because it's more fun to see it in person. All right. See if we can get it out of here. All right. So you get, these are 12 by 12, and you get 2 sheets of each double-sided design. So we've got the A side and the B side. Always love a good gingham. A side, honey pots. And the B side. Oh my gosh, that is just adorable. And the back side of that is hearts. And here we've got bees with some bright colored flowers. And just flowers on the back. flowers on the front of this one. Oh, and look at that beautiful stripe. Yep, like that. And finally, this with the honeycomb hive there. All right. So those are the new products from the online exclusives and from our on-stage experience. Oh, and don't forget these. These come in that Be Mine suite. See if I can do a little bit better getting these out without destroying them. There we go. This has hearts and flowers. Yes. I love those. Okay, set that all aside. And I hope you enjoyed that little sneak peek. I can tell myself not to buy more GSP than they come out with that. Isn't that amazing? That's the way it goes. How do you, yeah, can't resist that GSP, that's for sure. Hello, Cynthia, in case I didn't say hello. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Our first project tonight, we're going to use the Pick a Patch bundle. I hope you're not getting sick of it. We're going to make this little 3D project. Holds a Biscoff Belgian chocolate cookie. I got these little cookies. They come like this, and you can get them at Winco, at our local Winco store. Or you might be able to, my very first pack I ever got, I found at World Market, but then I since saw them in Winco, so you could look around and see where you can get them. You get each little one is a 3-pack. There's 3 cookies in here, and you get 7 in this particular package. Okay, so that's what it holds. Doesn't take that much for, oh, you guys, I forgot to show you these. These are from that Be Mine suite, and these are square pillow boxes. So I'm not going to put one together, though. But just so you know, that does come in the Be Mine suite. So let's grab these. And got just a few supplies here. This one doesn't take much. I've done some of the work ahead of time to help us because I didn't want to take too long. But I'll show you what I'm doing here. And then I've got a good share of my pumpkins already fussy cut because you have to fussy cut these particular ones. So let's start with the stamping, and I'll show you how I did that and what you need. So these are the sets that we're using, or the stamps we're using from the Pick of the Patch. I really like this stamp set. Yeah, you can use it for Halloween, for fall, and today we're going to use it for this inspired breast cancer awareness inspiration. So we need Bubble Bath, Berry Burst, and Moody Mauve for our ink. And then we've got a piece of pecan pie, or not pecan pie, I don't know where that came from, early espresso, just a scrap. And we're going to use that to punch out our pumpkin tops. Okay, so we are going to use the Stampin' Pierce mat to make sure that we get good images. Okay, let's start with, I've got Moody Mauve on the top. So the Moody Mauve, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take the Thanks So Much from that stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that over here, full strength. Okay, and then I'm going to take my small rounded pumpkin. That's this one in the set. I'm going to ink that up in Moody Mauve. I'm going to stamp that off, and I'm going to stamp over the top of my words. Okay. And now we're done with that. Move on to Berry Burst. And with the Berry Burst, we're going to take our large pumpkin and we're going to stamp this over here. And I'm doing that because that's where it will punch out best using the punch. And this project really does go together quite quickly. Got bubble bath. And I'm going to take the tall, skinny pumpkin. And we're going to ink that up in bubble bath. Okay. And then we're going to take the little speckles. I'm going to start with bubble bath. And put those in the lower right. And then I'm going to bring back the Berry Burst. And I did it in that order because I'm not going to clean off between. And I'm going to put one there and one there on my large pumpkin. And that kept me from cleaning my stamp between the uses because I went from a light tone to the darker tone. Okay, so then with the Pick of the Patch Builder Punch, I'm going to punch out my pumpkin. Get that lined up just the way I want it. Okay, and then these two have to be fussy cut. But you don't have to watch me because I've already done that. So then we're going to take our early espresso, and we need three tops, but I've already punched two of them to save us some time. Okay. So to put my pumpkin top on, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my other two pumpkins. Take a glue dot. Put the glue dot in the center of the back of my pumpkin. Put my pumpkin stem this way. And then I'm just going to lay that down on top of my pumpkin stem. And now these pieces are ready to go. And what I didn't do, I forgot to do, was cut a piece of basic white cardstock. So let me grab this. And I need a 3/4 inch piece. Okay, is that right? Or yep, 3/4 is correct. Okay, 3/4 by 3 1/4. 3/4 by 3 1/4. Okay. And then I'm going to take the Banner's Pick-a-Punch, and this will take a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, or 1 inch piece of paper, and I'm going to banner my ends. I'm going to take this piece of white, and I'm just going to slip it in my punch, push it in all the way, give it a punch, and now I've got a perfect banner. Turn it around. I'm going to do the same thing again and give that a punch. And now I've got my banner piece that I need. Okay, let's go ahead and build our box. Let's set that punch out of the way. Set these out of the way. We'll bring in our cardstock. So here is our template for the box bottom. Okay, I made this is reinforced. So let's grab our scoring tool and let's start by scoring our box bottom. So we're going to start, it doesn't matter where you start actually. We're going to start this, and on all four sides we're going to score at 1 inch and 2 inch, rotate 1 inch and 2 inch, 1 inch, 2 inch, and finally, oops, 1 inch and 2 inch. Now, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to cut that square off anyway. Okay, then for our belly band that goes around it, our wrapper, this one we're going to score at, not with this. Hang on. You can either wrap your belly band around and make your creases, or you can do it this way. So I'm going to go to the 1 inch mark. Hopefully you can see that. The 1 inch mark here, right here. And then I'm going to go just a hair past it. I'm not quite going to the 16th mark. I'm going halfway between, a little bit, just over, and I'm going to score. And then I'm going to go to the 2 inch mark, go a tiny bit past, and then I'm going to go to 3.5. I'm not going past, I'm just sitting right on the 3.5 inch mark. And then finally at 4.5, but I'm going to go just barely past that 4.5 inch mark. And this is going to give me a nice tight fit box without measuring a bunch of 16th inches or worrying about whether it's going to fit. And then I'm just going to burnish all of these. Okay. Now we've got some stamping to do on here. So I'm going to bring in my scrap paper. And on the outside of the wrap, I'm going to bring in the branch from the stamp set. This is all from Pick of the Patch. And in Berry Burst on the Bubble Bath. Oh, and in case I didn't tell you what size this piece is, it's 5.5 inches by 3 1/16. And I'm going to stamp the berry or the branch on either side in the large section in the middle. Then on the next section down, I'm going to stamp right in the middle there. And then I'm going to flip this around. And I'm going to do that same thing in this second section again. Okay? Then we're going to take that dotty stamp. And I'm going to flip that back around. And I'm going to put in some dots here and there. And it's okay if the sections overlap here. I'm not trying to line them up at all. I'm trying to make them look random. Okay. And I don't necessarily need to ink in these two bottom sections on either end, because those are going to be on the bottom of our box. Okay, and when you're happy, that's good. You're done. Okay, so now we can take this. Our stamping is pretty much done. We're going to grab our tear and tape here. And we're just going to put it on. I'm not going to put this together yet because I need to make the box bottom first, because I want to wrap this around the box so it fits. Okay, so the trick to this, turn it upside down. You're going to fold this over. So you want, this is going to go over like this. So I'm going to put tear and tape at the edge of this on the top. And then this is the inside piece because I folded this over, and I'm going to put the tear and tape on the inside edge of this end. Okay. All right. So those are now ready to go on our box. All right. So now let's go ahead and trim out our box. I'm going to fold and burnish on all the score lines. This piece again was 5 3/8 by 7 inches. You score at 1 and 2 inches on all 4 sides. This box couldn't be easier to put together. Okay, I'm going to get myself a longer pair of scissors because it works better for me. So in the landscape orientation, I'm going to cut up on the 2 long rectangles here. So I'm going to go in first score line, second score line, and I'm going to cut up to the second score horizontal score line. It is very important that when you're cutting these, that you cut off the entire score line. So cut just to the edge of that score line. And you're going to do that on both long rectangles so that it looks like this, okay? And then we're going to flip that to the other side and we're going to repeat. We're going to go in 2 score lines, up 2 score lines. Very important to cut off the entire score line. Otherwise, your sides won't fit into your box properly. Okay. So now we're going to turn it in the portrait orientation. And I'm going to cut up on the second score line to the first horizontal. Again, very important that you cut to the cut the score line off. And then I'm going to cut this square out. Wait a minute. Hang on. I need to cut these 2 outside squares off. And then I'm going to cut this one right here, which will leave me with a little tab. Okay? And then I'm going to repeat that over here. Okay. So I'm going to cut up here and remove these 2 outside corners. And then I'm going to cut up on this little triangle inside the score line to the first one, rotate and cut this off, that little square, so that I have this. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So cut off the 2 outside squares. Then we're going to rotate it, cut up to that score line, and then cut off this square, making sure that we don't leave any of that score line. Okay, and repeat that. Cut off these 2 outside, actually, I'm going to cut off these 2 outside, these 2 outside squares. Okay, then I'm going to cut up, and then I'm going to trim this out, taking off that entire score line. And then this should be what you have left. Okay, so we've got 2 sets of tabs to tuck in. Okay, so let's get our tear tape. Tear tape is easy to remember. Just take on the inside of the box and on all 4 of these single edges, the outside edges. We're just going to put tear tape on the inside of all of these at the very edge of the box, not at the score line, but the outside edge. Okay. I'm going to burnish those so that they stick nicely and I don't have trouble releasing the backing paper. Then I'll take my bone folder and I'm going to start on the 2 long edges. and remove that paper. Hello, Lynette. Okay. Now, you can remove these two now if you wish, or if you don't want to mess with them, you can pull it later. Either way will work. I'm pulling mine now. Okay, so now I'm going to take these pieces here, the two side panels, the shorter ones, and put them up. And then I'm going to bring the longer side panel up, making sure that I keep those edges square. And then I'm just going to press on that tear and tape. Rotate it around. Bring up those sides again, make sure they're square. Make sure they're pushed in well. Oh, my thing bent. Oh, because I forgot to trim those. That's what I forgot to do, you guys. You're supposed to trim these out. Oops! That makes the box fold better. Hang on. I can still trim these. Those other ones I can't. But if you just trim this one, this side, and this side. If you have trouble with your box, just trim those edges. Okay? And then these will fold in much nicer. Okay, there we go. They fold in easier for you. Okay, so give those a good burnish with your bone folder. And then you've got these two. Just fold them down, and you have a nice reinforced box bottom that will perfectly fit your Biscoff cookies. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now our box bottom is done. Now we need to finish up the top here. So we're going to take our release paper off of here. And with this on the inside, this is the inside, I'm going to take my Biscoff cookie and turn it upside down. This is the way I find to do it the easiest for me. Put that in there. My tape on my outside goes in first. Then the tape that has the end that has the tape on the inside, I'm going to line up my edges. I'm not pushing too tightly because I want to be able to have this slide. And then I'm going to give it a burnish. Okay, so now I've got my insert done. And it fits my box perfectly. The box isn't going to fall out, but I can still push it out and I can still get it back in easily. Okay, to finish up the decorations for this now, we're going to take our banner, and I'm just going to take my thumbnails on those two banner ends and get some Stamp and Seal. I'm going to put my banner down across the center here. And then I'm going to take my Berry Burst pumpkin. I'm going to put this one down in the center near the bottom. You don't want to go past the bottom though, because you want this to be able to stand up should they wish to stand it up. And then for these two, we're going to add those with dimensionals. So for my tall pumpkin, I'm going to put my dimensionals to the left of the pumpkin. And that's going to go right here, like so. And then my small squatty pumpkin, I'm just going to put these on here like so. And add this right here. Almost finished. Then we're going to grab the copper and natural ribbon combo pack, and I'm going to do my favorite thing with this. I've already cut one edge of this ribbon off, And I'm going to take just one strand of ribbon, just one little thread, and my bow jig. And I'm just going to wrap this around about 5 times and tie myself a nice bow. Oops. If I can keep a hold of my thread. Just tie that up there. And then we're going to add that with a blue dot, which I'm going to roll into a little ball on the tip of my take your pick tool. And place that on the back of my bow there. And then with it still attached to my take your pick, I'm going to put that down on my project. And there's our bow. Okay? So we've got that, and the last thing to finish this project off is some iridescent pearls. And I'm going to take a large one and put down here. And then I'm going to put another large one up here and a little mini one right there. Okay, and there is our first project. I hope you like that. Those are really simple to make. They don't take a lot of time, especially if you're doing them in batch work, where you do all the cutting, all the scoring, all the stamping, and then all you have to do is assemble. They work quite nicely that way. All right, so let's move on to our second project. It's also a 3D project. I'm going to put these templates here for just a minute in case you want to take a screenshot of that. I will have these templates on my blog tomorrow at kntdesignsbyteresa.blogspot.com, so you will be able to find them there. All right. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you. I'm glad you guys like those boxes. Actually, I gave Suzanne some choices for Winco treats for her friends there at work, co-workers, and this is the project that she chose for me to make. So I'll be making a bunch more of those. And if you were at the event on Saturday, if you participated in the event on Saturday, your little pumpkin said cutie pie, but when I make treats for the Winco employees, I like to do thank yous for all their effort. So there we are. We've got those. Let's put those aside and let's get on with project number 2. Okay, project number 2 uses the Warmest Heart bundle. This is a 10-piece photopolymer stamp set and then a 14-piece die set. This is in the mini catalog. And because of its nature, it can be used all year long. Okay, has nothing to do with the holidays or a specific time of year. So let's get started with that. And I'm going to show you some stamping. So we're going to start out with the little thermos, this thermos from the set. And again, I'm going to bring in that Stampin' Pierce mat and some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And hang on, you guys, let me get this over here in case I drop stuff. Then I won't drop it on my work surface. Okay, so let's go ahead and ink that up. And we're going to stamp that down. And I'm not pressing, I'm just letting it sit there and soak into the paper. Okay, a nice image. Then we also need 2 of the flowers. Okay. Oh, don't put that away. Now, ahead of time, I cut a mask out of a piece of Post-it paper, and I just stamped the thermos down, and then I cut out this section right here. And so I'm going to lay this down over the top of my thermos, making sure that I get right on those lines. Okay, I'm just going to lay that down. Then I'm going to take my flower stamp. I'm going to stamp some flowers up here, making sure I get good contact. And then I'm going to stamp down here. And finally, I'm going to stamp over here. Okay, and then when I lift that, it looks like the pattern was included in the stamp set for me to color. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring in my scratch paper again. Well, you know what? We're going to use this. This will work. Okay, and our Stampin' Blends. And I've actually already colored these, but I'm going to give you a quick little preview of how I colored them. So I'm going to use light and dark granny apple green. And I'm going to start with the light. And I'm going to color in the leaves here. Okay. And then I would color those at the same time. Do all my coloring with my colors all at once. And I'm going to take the dark granny apple green and just put a line on my leaves. Okay, and again, I would do those two. Then for my flowers here, I'm going to take my dark berry burst. I'm going to color the centers of the flowers, and of course those as well. I'm going to keep this for later because I'm going to need it again. And then I'm going to start with the dark moody mauve. And I'm just going to go on my flowers, and I'm just going to mark all these little lines the artist put in. Oh, I'm glad you like the box, Laura. Okay. And of course I would do those two. And then I'm going to go with the dark bubble bath. And I'm just going to take the centers of these and color in kind of where I already went with the moody mauve on all my flowers. Okay. And finally, I'm going to finish those flowers with the light bubble bath. Just color all those in. All right. Oh, and what I forgot to do was while you're at this, you're going to take the light moody mauve. I'm going to color the bottom of this. Okay. And then we're going to color this. I'm going to color in the top of the thermos, like so. Okay. Because this is a bigger area, once I get my outline, I'm going to switch over to my brush end and color that in. Okay, now you could stop there. I'm going to take the dark Moody Mauve, and with the brush tip, I'm just going to go along this outside edge and right there. Okay, and then I'll go back with the light and just blend over where those come together. Okay, now we've got that. Now let's go to the Dark Berry Burst. And I'm going to put a line of Dark Berry Burst right across here. And I'm going to put a second darker coat on the edges. And finally, with the dark Bubble Bath, I'm going to color in this last stripe here. Okay, and a little bit darker on the edges. Okay, now all we have left is the center of this. I'm going to do that in just the light berry burst, and I'm going to use the bullet tip end because there's a lot of fine work detail here. So in these areas like this, it's really tight, so you barely want to touch the tip of your marker to the paper, so you don't. And I like to outline all of this so it's easier to go back later and fill in. So I'll just outline all of these areas. Barely touching with the tip of my marker in these really tight areas. If you try to brush it really, then it's going to bleed, okay? So very lightly, barely touch the paper. Okay, now I'm going to come down here, get these, and if I need to turn it so I'm not at an odd angle, I will do so, because it's easier to turn your paper than try to color at a really weird angle. And I like to pull my color back toward me. Okay, so then we've got that. Barely touching again. Okay, so now that I've got that all done, now I can go in and lightly blend that all together with my brush tip if I like. Or I could stay with the bullet tip, whatever you're most comfortable with. Small circles will blend best. Remember when you're on your brush tip to keep rotating your marker so you don't put all the wear on one piece. All right, and there you have that. Okay, now I would die cut those and through the magic of Facebook Live, that is already done. Okay. The last piece that you would do to this before you die cut, because it's easier, take your Wink of Stella and go on all of the tips of those little petals. Okay. And this is where I see real quick, I missed a white spot in here. Back in there and put those in. Okay, there we go. All right. So let's put that aside. Got these pieces. Set aside our scrap paper. And now we can start on our box. So for our box, this box template is actually by Kitchen Table Stamper. I'm borrowing her design, copy and share everything, casing this. Fits a Swiss Miss cocoa packet, which you guys, I forgot to grab an extra one, but it's okay, we'll steal from one. You need a piece of bubble bath cardstock that is 1.5 by 9 inches long, and this is for our belly band. I've got a piece of Delightfully Eclectic Designer Series paper. This is cut at 4 5/8 by 3 3/8. Then I've got a piece of the Glorious Gingham Designer Series paper. These are both from the annual catalog. And this is 3 1/8 by 3 3/8 inches. Okay. And then we've got a piece of white. And this is for our sentiment. So we need to stamp our sentiment. And that is also from the Warm Hearts. We're going to stamp in Berry Burst. And this is a long sentiment. And I don't want mine to be long. So I'm going to do my trick that I like to do, my masking trick without masking. I'm going to ink up You Warm on the edge of my ink pad. Oops, that's not inked very well. With photopolymer, you can see if you've got it inked well or not. Okay. You do not want to press down hard on this. It will warp the sentiment. So I'm going to set that down. Gently run my finger across it. And now I've got You Warm. I'm going to clean that off on my chamois. My chamois not very wet. And that's kind of a key for this. If you have a real wet chamois, then you're going to have issues. But I'm going to take and rub that on my hand to make sure I don't have any liquid or ink left. And then I'm going to switch it around to My Heart. And again, I'm going to ink that on the edge of my ink pad. Check it. Make sure I don't have ink where I don't want it. And then I'm going to stamp that down. And I'm going to give it just a gentle little press, because if I don't, I find my Y doesn't work. And I overlapped mine just a tiny bit, but I'm okay with that. Okay, so let's put that away. Then we're going to pull in the double oval punch. And the best way to use this double oval punch to save paper is to use a scrap. And this scrap is no more than like 1.25 inches. You really don't need more than 1 inch, but this is what I had in my stash of scraps. So I'm just going to put that in how I want it, give it a punch, and there we are. So now this is ready to go. So let's go ahead and make our box. Okay, we're going to start our box with, let me move all my pieces. Here's our template. I'm going to bring back in the scoreboard, a Simply Scored tool. Our cardstock is 9 inches by 8 3/4 inches. And we're going to start on the 8 3/4 inch side. 8 3/4 inch side. Okay, and we're going to score it at 3/8. Each one of these little marks is an eighth. So 3/8, 3/4, 4 3/8, and 4 3/4. Then I'm going to rotate it to the right, and on the 9-inch side, I'm going to score this at 3/8, 5 1/4, and 5 5/8. Okay, and that is our scoring complete. Okay, time to trim it out. The trimming on this is just a little bit tricky, but it's not difficult. So let's go ahead and burnish on all of our score lines. It's really important that you burnish with these tiny little strips here. Okay. Once you trim out one of these, then it won't be so it won't seem so tricky. And if you're making a bunch of them, you get into a rhythm, and then it's a lot easier. Okay. Another project that's good for all the year. Okay, so this bigger section here is a bottom. This is the top of our box, and this section over here that has the score lines, this is our glue tab right here on the outside. So let's start there. Okay, so here we're going to go to our glue tab on the bottom. We're going to cut at an angle right here. Okay, this is going to be a tuck-in tab on the bottom, but I'm going to angle cut this. And when I angle cut that, then I'm going to remove that whole corner. Okay. Then on this tiny little tab, I'm going to go and cut off the score line completely so that my large triangle has a straight edge. And then I'm going to trim an angle cut next to it. Okay. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do the same thing with this small tab. Cut up to the first score line, angle cut next to that, cut up on the long rectangle, and angle cut that tiny little tab. Okay, now our bottom tabs are ready to go. Okay, so up here again, remember this is going to be our glue tab for our box. So I'm going to angle cut this again right here. All right. And then this little square right here is going to be a tab that sticks up. All right. So I'm going to cut on this second score line up. I'm going to turn my paper and I'm going to cut on this long score line right here. And I'm going to cut up to this second score line right here. So into, up to. And I'm cutting off the score line. Okay, I'm going to cut all the way down. All right, now I'm going to remove this piece and this tiny little piece here and then these two pieces. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut over on those two little scores, and that's going to remove that long piece. And then I'm going to angle cut on the small piece so that I have an angle on my tab, and then I'll angle that. Okay, now I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut up to the second score line here, on this outside score again. So over 2 and up 2, and I'm cutting off the score line. Okay. Now, I need to remove this whole section so that I just have this little score. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut over on the little score here. Okay. So I've done that, and then I'm going to angle cut on that little one because that's going to be my tab. Okay, do you see what I've done there? And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to fold down my tab, and I'm going to cut off that score line over to that cut line I just made. And then that section's going to fall away. Now that's a big piece of cardstock. So I'm going to cut off these pieces, and this is going to go in my scrap bin. And I'll throw the others in the trash. Okay, so now we have our box. It looks like our template, except for the rounded corner. And where did I put my corner rounder? Right here. So I'm going to take a corner rounder. Oops. And we don't currently have one in the catalog, so use what you have on hand. And I'm just going to round the corners on this upper piece, just like that. Okay. Now this looks exactly like my template. Good to go. Okay. So we can set the template aside. Now I'm going to add my designer series paper. So this is going to be the front of our box, and I'm going to put my largest piece of designer series paper there, and then this piece is going to go here. But in order for that to look decent, I need to round the corners. So again, I'm going to take my corner rounder and I'm going to round those. And then I'm going to add these to my box. Now I'm just going to use Stampin' Seal for this. Now I am going to cut a finger notch out of this piece. So I'm going to put an extra little bit of Stampin' Seal at the top of this so that when I cut out that piece, my edge does not flap. Okay, I don't want that flapping around. So that's done. Now I'll put this piece on. Making sure that my rounded corners are on the same end as the rounded corners of the top here. Okay, and now I'm ready to, now I'm going to take my circle punch, and I'm going to use the 2 3/8 inch circle punch. And I'm going to eyeball this. You know, I don't really like to eyeball it, but I'm going to because it's quite a large little circle. And I'm just going to give myself a little finger notch here. I'm going to go down maybe a quarter of the circle. Give that a punch. And now I've got a nice finger notch in there. All right, let's go ahead and add some tear and tape. So for this, I'm going to turn it over on the outside. And I'm going to put my tear and tape on this outside edge, or on this outside panel here, but I'm going to put it up as close to the score line without going over as I can. And because this is narrow, it's not really going to matter, but I still like to make sure that my boxes stay together at the seam, and this is where the seam is going to be. Okay, so now this is the front of my box right here. So I'm going to take this and turn it over, and I'm going to put a piece of tear and tape at the edge of this bottom panel on the inside of the front pocket there. All right, now we are ready to put this together. Okay, so we're going to remove the backing. Once you get this cut, then it's really simple to assemble. So I'm going to fold this in on the second score line. I'm going to fold this in on the first score line, second score line. Lay those flat, line up my score lines, and give that a press. And now I've got my box. Okay, so I'm going to fold this in and fold this down like that. Fold in my side seams. Now you could put a tiny little bit of liquid glue here, and I'm going to just a little dot on those little pieces. It isn't absolutely necessary, but I don't like my flaps flopping. Okay, so I'm going to put that in, pull off the backing tape here. Fold that in, fold the back toward the front, line that up, fold the front over the back, give that a press, run my home folder. Oh man, did you guys see what I did? I put my finger notch on the wrong piece. Don't do that. Yep, my finger notch is supposed to be here on the front of the box. And I'm pretty sure I can't do that now. Yep, I messed that up. So don't do what I did. Finger notch goes here, like this. That's where your finger notch is supposed to be. Okay? Oops. Okay, let's go ahead and make our belly band. So for this one, we are not going to score the belly band, pre-score it. I'm going to lay this down on my surface. Okay, I'm going to lay my packet in about the middle. If you had a grid sheet, that would work best. Let's go ahead and grab some grid sheet here. And I'm just going to lay this down on a straight line. And I'm going to set this down on a straight line. Try and center it up the best I can. I'm just eyeballing. Okay. Then I'm going to fold up the right side and give it a crease with my finger. Fold up the left side, give it a little crease with my finger. Fold over, crease a little bit. Fold over. Remember, you want this to slide, so don't do it too tight. And then I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to reinforce those scores, making sure that my sides line up when I score, because those are just rough scores. Then I'm going to give it a crisp edge, back that off. Excuse me. Line that up on the edge. Sharpen up that score and repeat on this side. Back that up, line up the edges, lay it flat, and there we have it. Now again, we're going to do the same thing we did with the last wrap. We're going to put tear and tape on the outside edge on one end and the inside edge on the other end. Okay, I'm going to put this right back down here. Take off our we burnish that so it'll come right off. And that. And again, we're going to want this to slide, so line up your sides Don't pull it too taut. Give it a press. Okay? And now you can pull this off. I like to lay it flat and give it a good press. Okay, now we're ready to decorate. Oh, except I forgot to cut one piece, didn't I? I did. Let me find my Moody. I thought I had a piece of Moody Mauve. Let's get this back on here. What did I do with my little things? Let me find a piece of Moody Mauve cardstock. I'm not sure. Hang on for just 1 second. 23 to 25. Do I have any scraps? Oh, of course not, because that would be too easy. All right, I'll get a scrap. I know I've got a scrap laying around here somewhere for this. The question is, what did I do with it? Okay, I'm going to take the handmade tag punch, and I am going to punch a handmade tag here. This is what the punch looks like. Okay, and then this is the shape that you get. So we're going to take that, and I'm just going to lay this down, and I'm going to do all of my decorating right here. So let's do this. The idea here is to cover up the seam. We're going to take those 2 of those flowers that we did. I'm going to take some liquid glue. I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on there. Put this in the diamond orientation. Add this to the tip of that. I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to repeat that. Excuse me. And then we'll add this one. Okay. Take some Stampin' Dimensionals. We're going to take our sentiment, put 2 dimensionals on, and I'm going to put this across here like so. Line that up as best I can in the center. Okay. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm not going to put any liquid glue on here because I don't want to risk gluing it. So I'm just going to take some liquid glue over that seam area. And I'm going to lay this so that this tip is just like an 1/8 of an inch in or so. And trying to line up center, top, and bottom on the bubble bath piece. And I'm going to give that a press and let it sit until it sets. Okay. And then we're going to take our thermos and a couple of dimensionals here. And I'm going to put my dimensional one up here, one down here, again on the belly band. And then figure out where I want that and press it down. Okay. And then the final thing for this, we're going to take some of the iridescent rhinestones, and I'm going to take medium, put in the center of this flower, another medium in the center of this flower, and a small one on the center of this flower. Okay. Actually, I am going to fancy this up a little bit more. Why not? And do that. Okay. And there you have your hot cocoa packet ready to go as a gift. Okay, there we go. So there's project number 2, and here's project number 1. I hope you liked those. And thank you for joining me tonight. Appreciate that. Next week is up in the air. I will be at a crafting retreat. So if I do anything, it'll be a pre-recorded video. So be sure to check back next week and see what I have for you. All right, everybody. So glad you enjoyed those projects. Thank you for the kind words, and I will see you soon. Good night.